everyone, this is the Witch of the Void, and I'm continuing my playthrough of Vampire the Masquerade chapters on a board game. I already did 2 prologues for the Gangrel clan and the Malkavian clan, and now I'll go with the next prologue, which is the Venture clan. So the Venture clan is Samuel Armstrong, so it would be him. Let me prepare the booklet just to showcase it to you. That's Samuel. We can put it here. Okay, those are not needed at the moment. Let's set them aside. And now let's learn about Samuel. Samuel Armstrong is a direct descendant of the Prince of Vancouver. Before being made into a vampire, Samuel was a rich lawyer, a job he kept even after the embrace as a form of a cover. Seeing Montreal as a way to increase his dignitas, Samuel volunteered to move from Vancouver to Montreal to act as a mediator at the court of Martin Hilkers. To Samuel's dismay, over the years he has spent in town, he's learned how poorly the prince is managing his domain. Unwilling to be lumped with Hilkers in the eyes of the local kindred, Samuel has begun to show the community just how a true venture ought to act. This has led him to take on a more active hand in the issue arising from Hilker's mismanagement, and he now spends his nights putting out the metaphorical fires that burn across Montreal. His tireless efforts have made Samuel Armstrong the person to see when a problem emerges, sometimes even before Elysium is called. He knows he is threading a dangerous line, but to Samuel, the reputation of his entire bloodline is at stake, and he will not sit back while an incompetent upstart ruins it for everyone. Thanks to his diplomacy and natural leadership skills, even the Anarchs are forced to admit Samuel is not like the other ventures around here. Okay, so we have a ambitious venture who is really into his clan. I have his character card already prepared. So let's take a look. Clearly, from the get-go you can see that Samuel is skilled in social attribute, and that's pretty much it, I would say. But he has a lot of points in those, so I guess there will be a lot of talking in his chapter. Okay then, let's see what map we need, and what characters. So this is the map, number 3. So yesterday we had 4, or the last time. So that's the map. It's an office. Let's look for Samuel. Very spellcasting pose. I love it. It looks like he's casting a fireball or something. He sits in his chair, and he will have 2 NPCs. Thomas Shartan, which is another character actually. Okay, so we have a stand over here. Okay, so they are both sitting on the chairs. Nice. Now Samuel has 3 social and 2 mental attributes, so that means he too has 5 willpower, so let's just mark it because I expect this one will be might require some re-rolls, but I'm not sure. I'm just assuming. Okay then, let's start. Montreal, 8:30 p.m. The autumn rain glides down your office window as your finger fly over your keyboard. You're sitting comfortably in an old leather chair that dates back to the Prohibition, which you earned as a bonus following one of your latest negotiations. As you type out one last email, you sip on a glass of blood, savoring the taste. Once you've sent the email, you turn off your laptop and read over the latest letter you received from the Prince of Montreal. Mr. Armstrong, tonight you will receive a visit from two important members of our shared community. Regrettably, their argument could jeopardize the fragile allegiance I have taken so long to build. The tribal territorial feud must not degenerate into something bigger. I've been told of your diplomatic skills on multiple occasions. It's time for you to prove that accepting a member of the Vancouver lineage into my domain was a good decision. Failure is not an option. Martin Hilkas. You slide the letter into the shredder. Its blades are still working when your intern announces your clients have arrived. After politely thanking her and giving her the night off, you welcome your guests and gesture for them to come in. As the vampires make their way into the room, you indicate to them their respective seats. The skinnier of the two sits. You cuff into your right fist to get their attention. Gentlemen, I am Samuel Armstrong, descendant of Siegfried, Prince of Vancouver. I've asked you here tonight to shed light on an embarrassing occurrence. I invite you to start from the very beginning and recall the incident as each of you sees it. Thomas Shortand, a bruiser who looks like a lumberjack, has chosen to remain standing. Instead, he points to Antonio Andrade, a thin Malkavian wearing a grey suit. It's simple. This bastard was out hunting when trespassed on my territory without authorization. I'm ready to forget about it all if he apologizes. Otherwise, I'll tear his fangs off. We clear? Leaning back in his comfortable armchair and keeping his cool, the Malkavian retorts, "This is a simple misunderstanding, a mere faux pas. I was chasing after prey on private property when things degenerated and turned violent. Nothing in Camarilla law explicitly forbids just a hunt, such a hunt. Therefore..." Unable to wait any longer, the bruiser stomps towards the Malkavian, who immediately stands up, fist raised. "Are you fucking serious? I'm gonna beat your ass." You place yourself between the two of them. Objective: solve the conflict per the prince's instructions. Read event number 1. As a playable character, Thomas Chartan does not use a standee but a plastic miniature. Well, I figured that out, thank you. Okay, let's read the event. The work of negotiator. You place yourself between the bruiser and the Malkavian, but then you hesitate. Should you start by reasoning with the easily riled up bruiser, or should you begin discussion with the Malkavian, whose mannerisms are closer to your own? Unsure where to begin, you choose to start conversing with both. This most certainly won't be easy, but you have to find some common ground for the two of them to settle on. The prince will not tolerate failures, so I need to place myself between them. The calm before the storm. You mentally brace yourself at the thought of what's to come. To initiate a dialogue with an NPC, you must move your character onto a hex adjacent to that NPC. Then refer to the first page of corresponding dialogue in the chapter's booklet. Once the dialogue sequence begins, you must see it through to the end, following the instructions and the choices offered to you throughout the sequence. Thomas and Antonio dialogue 1. So it begins. The tension between the two vampires is already quite strong. By placing yourself between them and trying to steer the conversation a certain way, you should be able to remain in control of the situation. Which method is most likely to succeed? Choose wisely. Take a while to slowly ease into the subject. Immediately get on the topic. I'm going to go immediately into the topic. Choosing your words wisely. You adjust your cuffs. Gentlemen, it seems to me you are ready to come to blows, and yet very little has been said. Let us discuss the disagreement civilly and find a proper solution that will satisfy you both and avoid open conflict between the Camarilla and the Anarchs. What do you say? Disagreement? This crazy bastard went hunting on my turf. It's not a fucking disagreement, it's a domain violation. The Bruegel yells. Are you sure you're not being just a tad dramatic over some prey escaping me? The Malkavian watches him with detachment and condescension. You making fun of me? The burly kindred retorts. Tension escalates between the vampires, it's time to intervene. Okay, 3 options. Threaten them to cut their arguments short and remind them who's in charge. Reason with them, remind them of a vampire society protocols. Let's remind them of the protocols. Immortals. You remind them that you are not mere mortals and that kindred society has protocols. I hope this will help bring some sense back to them. Please. When did you both forget we're not simple mortals, we are kindred, and there are protocols. Your traditions are the founding blocks of this complex societal structure we've created. If you desire a physical altercation that badly, we can stop right there, and I can inform Prince Hilkas regarding your decision. I highly doubt that your discord affecting all hierarchy levels of kindred society is something that would benefit the two of you. So do we agree to resume the discussing this matter in a more civilized fashion? You eye both kindred and hope your words will make an impression. Need to make a social and occult check. We have 3 die. We have 0 occult knowledge. But the difficulty is 2, so I only need 2 successes, so it should be fine. I have 3 successes, sorry I keep rolling off screen, but yeah, so I can read the success. I can take the shrewd effect. Oh, nice. Both of them look at you with respect. Well, I grant you are all above kind on the food chain at the very least, the Bruger concedes. In a way, I do share Mr. Sharton's opinion. We have the traditions, and we have a better view of what humanity should actually be like. You're perfectly in charge of the whole situation. The prince may not be liked, but this political power is undeniable. But his political power is undeniable. This Malkavian and this Bruger clearly don't want to bring his wrath down upon them. I have to take the Shrew card, which is effect number 14. Got it. Shrewd. An intelligent mind who trusts nothing but the intelligence will eventually face problems which intelligence will not solve. Amid Calantry. +2 dice to your next mental check. You can discard after use or at the end of the next chapter. You smile, satisfied with your political prowess. The keys. Just when everything seems to be going your way, you hear a sudden noise in the room next door. You take a couple of strides towards the door and open it to catch the intruder. It's your new intern. She grins, embarrassed, then explains she forgot the keys to her house. You don't know how long she's been standing there and what she could have overheard. It's imperative that you avoid a possible catastrophe by dealing with her. The choices below require the use of discipline. Only characters who possess the discipline indicated by each option can select that option. Keep in mind that options incorporating the use of disciplines are always followed by the rouse check, like any other discipline use. If you have Dominate Compel, we do have Dominate Compel at level 1, so we can actually use that. Kitosh. Sorry, my cat is actually... So we can dominate the intern and offer her to your guest as a meal, or dominate the intern so she forgets the last few minutes and leave with the keys. I'm gonna be kind. I'm sorry. A much too curious intern. You smile at your new intern. Hello, Catherine. How long have you been here? She tucks a rebellious strand of her hair behind her right ear, then shyly smiles at you. I was just looking for my keys, but I'll go now. 1 second, please. You snap your fingers right next to her face to make sure you've grabbed her attention. You had your keys. They were stuffed deep inside your purse. You only realized this after getting inside the building. That is all. The young woman nods. Then she leaves without another word. Antonio Andrade shoots you unimpressed looks. Look, for once. You could have permanently got rid of that problem, yet you didn't. I notice you have more humanity than most, and I appreciate that. Take the Sociable 7 effect card and make a rouse check. So, a rouse check is when you roll the red dice and you pray to not roll the skull. Which I didn't. Oof. So I didn't get hungry. Or hungrier, I guess. That was Sociable 7. Ooh, I'm getting so full of those effect cards. Sociable. Society is no comfort to one not sociable. William Shakespeare. +1 die to your next social checks. So I have a couple of cards that I can use either now or in the next chapter, and then I have to discard those cards. Oh no, I don't need that. You cough into your fist to recover your guest's attention. Outside, the autumn rain regularly hits the window. It is of utmost importance that you redirect the conversation. You need to fulfill the prince's objectives. Mr. Andrade, you agree that the tradition of the domain is a pillar of the kindred society. We hunt and preside over our territories with little to no disturbance. If you feed too often and too regularly on the human population, there are consequences. No need for me to remind you of the massacres perpetrated on our people by the Inquisition. This is why a forbidden hunt on another kindred's domain is an infraction, because it can disturb the entire structure upon which our society is built. It's a bit like when too many species disappear. It can affect the entire food chain. The tradition of the domain, and all others, aren't pillars of our kind's society for arbitrary reasons. Do you understand what I'm getting at? You smile lightly. Make a social and persuasion check. So we have persuasion of 3, and we have a skills check of difficulty of 4, so we make a social and persuasion check. We have 3 successes, we need only 1 more. Lucky for me, I got this one, so we can read the success. Solid traditions. The Malkavian nods. No one should go against the tradition, on that much we agree. Agreed, the Bruger added with a smile. The Malkavian seems peaceful. You've just won this round thanks to the tradition of the domain. It was the right move to mention both the transgression and the masquerade breach, but it won't be enough. Proceed with one of the following. Suck up to them and praise their desire to find a solution, find their weaknesses and try to exploit them to put an end to the conflict. Let's be shrewd. Let's try to find the weakness. I feel that that's something that Samuel would do in someone else's shoes. You decide to focus on the Malkavian and try to flatter his ego. I'm glad we agree, Mr. Andrade. I've been told of your wisdom and I appreciate the opportunity to witness it with my own eyes. He seems to appreciate your praise, and the ghost of a smile appears on his lips. Well, who would argue against tradition, really? You notice the Bruger grumbling under his breath. Your prince seems more than happy to alter them when it suits him, though. You make a note of the fact that this passive-aggressive comment is devoid of the biting rage he possessed previously. You decide to try appeasing him even further. It is true that the prince has final say on how he intends to govern this city. But if you think that simply because we are of the same clan that I share the same power, even a fraction, you do not know the Camarilla well, Mr. Chartand. That said, I cannot fault you. I myself sometimes wish I wielded more power, especially with the cases assigned to me. You give the Bruja a sympathetic smile and notice his shoulders relax. He seems to respect you more now that you have admitted that the system in place is not without fault. This gamble of yours may well pay off. If the Malkavian missed your smile, as deliberate as it was to get Thomas to calm down, it could be misconstrued by Andrande and perceived as actual sympathy for the honor cause. A veritable faux pas in the Camarilla circles. Make a social and subterfuge check. Subterfuge, we have only 2. Social 3, difficulty 5, so we might use 1 additional die now. I'm gonna use that one. So I'm using this card. So I have 2 successes. I'm rolling 4 dice, and it's 3 from my social skill and 1 from the effect cards that I just used up. So I have 2 subterfuge automatic successes. I have 3, 4, 5, and 2 misses, but they don't get subtracted, so 3 plus 2 equals 5. I passed the difficulty check. And I can return this to yeah, so let's return it. That's 7. And what did it? Oh, I succeeded the difficulty check. So, winning through the traditions. You've taken the time to guide both vampires to the topic of traditions, and you are now in control. You've mapped out their minds, you've understood the Bruja and his tendency to automatically rebel against any form of authority. Truly, he's the epitome of his clan's clichés. When you can't get his way, he simply resorts to violence. The Malkavian, however, seems quite amused by the whole ordeal. Has he purposefully provoked the situation? It's hard to tell. One thing for sure. However, all his words are carefully measured and well thought out. To the point that you wonder if he's not simply testing the prince's powers and purpose. It seems we all agree. We finally conclude that this is fair and go on with our nightly affairs. The end of the line. Gentlemen, I'm glad we've managed to come to some sort of understanding. I'd like to believe tonight's discussion will lead to a satisfactory outcome for all of us. You've tried your best to arbitrate between the two. It's time to put an end to the mission the prince has given you. Decide whether you want to preserve this alliance or whether you wish to benefit personally from the situation. Something that could anger one of the 2 vampires. And Samuel would preserve the peace by staying neutral. Peace in Montreal. You strive to preserve the peace. We can all concur that what matters is keeping the peace between our 2 communities in order to protect Montreal from outside harm. We must fight together, and the best way to do that is to move past this incident and pretend it never happened. I've heard a rumor of a possible Sabbat presence in the city. Let's focus on that instead of being turned into the laughingstock of the next Elysium for arguing over such trivial matters. The time has come to impose your verdict. Social and persuasion check. Persuasion is 3, social is 3 dice. Let's roll 3 dice. That's difficulty of 5, so I need 2 successes. I have 4 successes, so that puts me way over the difficulty check. So my verdict is neutral. The Bruja and the Malkavian have just left your office. You've managed to preserve an absolute neutrality. In other words, you've saved Montreal from a potential war between the Onyx and the Camarilla. The prince, who is almost never available for anything, it's unlikely to give you so much as a thank you gift, but at least you've accomplished your mission, which is, in the end, exactly what you were told to do. He'll probably ask for your help again, however, and that's a good start when it comes to establishing a new reputation in Montreal. Now it's time to think about going hunting. You won't have time to do so tomorrow, as you've been summoned to an emergency Elysium. Probably to discuss the shady circumstances behind the disappearance of a group of artists. It's been a long time since similar events have occurred. Gain 1 boon, so I get money. And now for the conclusion. Conclusion. The air tonight is electrifying. A storm is brewing. The sheet of paper burning in your glass sporadically illuminates your face. Standing in front of your office's giant glass window, you watch over downtown Montreal. Memories of this past few days, more eventful moments come back to you. It seems that after departing the office, Thomas Chertant felt the need to take out his anger on a couple of fellows who were hanging around this place. Luckily for you, this occurred on Anarch territory. Those chaotic vampires have no respect for anything, excluding the masquerade at least. Despite this, you know how full well that if knowledge of this event has made its way to your ears, it will most definitely resurface elsewhere, and will likely tarnish your family's reputation. The status quo the Camarilla has reached with the Anarchs is exasperating, but the prince's orders must be respected. The flame in the glass dies, reminding you of the incinerated letter's contents, which summoned you to an emergency Elysium tomorrow night. It's been a long time since events like this have occurred. The first raindrops strike the glass pane before you and slowly trickle down its surface. You watch over the city as the rain grows heavier, then decide to go hunting for prey. Tomorrow night will be much too eventful for you to think about quenching your thirst. Take the special umbrella item card. Number 14, okay. Okay, so I concluded the prologue. Let me make note of the events. When combined, special umbrella when combined with a weapon combat card, plus 1 die to your weapon skill checks. Okay, but nonetheless, I guess this concludes, I can do that afterwards. So this concludes the Samuel prologue. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's a clear indication of who Samuel is as a character, I guess. So please let me know if Venture Clan is the one you are particularly interested in when it comes to Vampire Masquerade, or the character of Samuel himself. He seems to be very venture-y. So what's your opinion and take on the character? Please leave a comment, like and subscribe to my channel, and see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye!